Hello everyone and welcome to Island Technologies presentation on DrayTek VPN Solutions Part 2. My name is Paul Ang and I am a network engineer at Island Technology. I will be presenting the second part of this webinar series, DrayTek VPN Solutions. We will have an overview of LAN-to-LAN VPN tunnels and go over configuration options as well as configuration example. So let us start with LAN-to-LAN VPN overview. LAN-to-LAN VPN tunnels are used to connect a branch office or home office to the headquarters to share resources. Through one VPN tunnel, many users can be connected over the internet. The users at the branch office can access servers and printers, for example, as if they were on their local network. In this mode, only one VPN connection is created, and all staff at the branch office can access head office services. At the same time, head office staff can access branch office services. One requirement is that the two networks LAN should not have the same LAN network address as shown in our diagram. Router A is configured as a VPN server and has LAN IP subnets of 192.168.1.0 and 192.168.3.0. Router B, configured as the VPN client and has LAN IP subnet of 192.168.2.0, which is different to the Router A network. This diagram shows VPN tunneling works. The first stage is data is sent from the PC to the destination network. Next, in step 2, the router appends the tunneling header to the data packet. Then the encapsulated payload is sent across the internet. At the destination router, the tunnel header is removed and sent to its final destination. Some tunneling protocols not only encapsulate the data, but also encrypt them to protect the confidentiality and integrity of the data and provide authentication of the VPN peer. This diagram shows the steps involved when setting up an IPsec VPN tunnel. These are: dialing one of the VPN peers, client dial outside, sends a request to the other server, or dial inside to establish the tunnel. Then peer authentication, and third, VPN negotiation. VPN peers exchange message about encryption and authentication. They must agree on all the parameters. Fourth, tunnel established, and lastly, data transmitted. The router routes the traffic destined to the peer networks to the VPN tunnel. Here we have a list of supported VPN protocols that can be used for LAN-to-LAN VPN tunnels. These are PPTP, Point-to-Point Tunneling Protocol, L2TP, Layer 2 Tunneling Protocol, IPsec, IP Security, GRE, Generic Routing Encapsulation, L2TP over IPsec, SSL VPN, and OpenVPN. By the way, OpenVPN is not supported using LAN-to-LAN VPN, but for remote dial-in VPN, it is supported. This table shows the security features of some VPN protocols. GRE is the most basic with no encryption. Other protocols use different levels of encryption, with IPsec having the highest level of encryption. We will now look at the LAN-to-LAN VPN configuration options. We will start with DrayTek OS routers. For new user, DrayTek do provide the VPN Client Wizard and the VPN Server Wizard. These provide a step-by-step guide to set up LAN-to-LAN VPN tunnels. For VPN Client Wizard, you start by selecting the VPN mode and profile to use, then select the VPN protocol, and in the last step, enter the VPN details. When finished, you will get a page similar to this, giving a summary of the profile created. So, we do not need to know how to navigate the VPN menu. The VPN wizard is similar as shown in the steps here. You start by selecting the VPN mode and profile to use. Then select Allowed VPN Protocol, and in the next step, enter the authentication settings. The last step is to confirm the VPN details. The main LAN-to-LAN VPN configuration menu is under the VPN and Remote Access menu. We first have to check that the required VPN services are enabled in the router as shown. They are usually enabled by default, but can be disabled if you have a VPN server on the LAN and need VPN pass-through allowed through the router. To set up the LAN-to-LAN VPN tunnels, we need to go to the LAN-to-LAN menu options as shown here. You will notice that we have 32 profiles that can be created. Clicking on each index in the LAN-to-LAN profile page allows you to create a profile for each LAN-to-LAN VPN connection. Within each LAN-to-LAN profile, there are 5 subgroups, which are Common Settings, Dial-out settings, Dial-in settings, DRE settings, and TCP/IP network settings. We will go over each of these sections in the next few slides. In the Common Settings menu, the call direction can be selected as dial-out or dial-in or both. Tunnel mode and idle timeout can be also selected. The default idle timeout value is 300 seconds. This is the time period the router will wait until it disconnects the VPN tunnel if no traffic is flowing through the VPN tunnel. The ping to keep IPsec tunnel alive is only used for diagnostic purposes and should not be enabled. Enabling this feature will cause the VPN tunnel to repeatedly drop and reconnect. This setting is independent of dead peer detection feature. More details are available in the application note. Here you have the VPN dial-out menu. If you select this option, then this router will be VPN client and will try to establish a connection to the remote router, which will be configured as a dial-in connection or VPN server. For dial-out, we also select Always On to provide a stable VPN connection that will not time out due to inactivity. You can also select the dial-out protocol to use, which must match the VPN server at the remote site. VPN dial-in allows the router to be the VPN server and accept dial-in VPN requests. For VPN dial-in, you will need to select the dial-in option in the Common Settings section of the menu and also select the required allowed dial-in type to use. We can also set the idle timeout to be 0 so that the router will not drop the connection. PPTP VPN just needs the username and password for authentication and usually the quickest to set up. For IPsec, there are a lot more parameters that needs to be entered. You will need to specify the IP addresses for each end of the VPN tunnel when using main mode configuration, or use peer ID when one end does not have a static IP address. You also have to enter a pre-shared key for IKE authentication as well as the security method. There are a number of application notes available in the knowledge base covering various scenarios for creating VPN tunnels. The next menu item is GRE settings. These settings enable IPsec dial-out to use a GRE over IPsec. GRE is mainly used in dual WAN and multi-WAN routers when setting up LAN-to-LAN load balance VPN connections between sites. Both ends must match for each other by setting up same virtual IP addresses, MyGRE IP and peer GRE IP for communication. The logical traffic setting is an optional function and ensures the data transmitted on the VPN tunnel is really sent out from both sides. Section 5 TCP/IP settings allow you to enter the network details of the local and remote networks so traffic can be routed over the LAN-to-LAN VPN tunnel. Clicking on the More button allows the entry of additional remote networks. Other options are IPsec VPN with the same subnets. This allows the same subnet to be used at each end of the VPN tunnel, and the router translates the subnet to a virtual IP subnet. Change default route to this VPN tunnel This forces traffic from the remote VPN connection to use this router as the gateway for internet connection. Most of the functions available in DrayOS routers are also available in Linux-based routers, but the menu looks different. Here we have the main menu in the bigger 3900. Similarly to the DrayOS routers, you will need to check that the required VPN services are enabled as shown here. You can create up to 500 VPN profiles using IPsec, PPTP, SSL, or GRE. Here we have a screenshot of the configuration menu. You will need to first select the VPN type. We have IPsec selected here. Then we will click on Add to create a profile or Edit to modify an existing profile. VPN profiles created will be listed below the menu as shown here. We have 5 profiles here. Here we have the configuration menu for the IPsec profile. Under the Basic tab, we enter the IP address details and IKE protocol to use, and IKE Phase 1 mode as well as pre-shared key. The local ID and remote ID are used when aggressive mode is selected. This is used when one end does not have a static IP address. In the next tab, we have the advanced options where we can select various options. Under GRE tab, we can enable GRE function. On the next tab, we have the IKE Phase 1 and Phase 2 proposal settings. The last tab is Multiple SAs, allows you to add multiple networks to the VPN profile. We will now have a short video demonstration on setting up LAN-to-LAN tunnels between DrayTek routers using IPsec. This is presented by Briti Chakar. This video is about 6 minutes.
Hello everyone. In this video, I'm gonna show you IPsec LAN-to-LAN VPN configuration between two DrayTek routers. Here we are gonna set up VPN tunnel between DrayTek Vigor 2760 and DrayTek Vigor 2860. So let's configure Vigor 2760. Log in to Vigor 2760 and ensure that at least one internet connection is up. For that, go to Online Status, Physical Connection. Here we can see that when one is connected. Now go to VPN and Remote Access, LAN to LAN. Click on Available Profile Index. Enter profile name for VPN and tick Enable this profile option. We are configuring Vigor 2760 as VPN server, hence we are setting up call direction as dial-in. Set idle timeout as 0 seconds to keep this tunnel open until it is terminated by remote site. Now go to dial-in settings section. Ensure IPsec checkbox is ticked. Enable specify remote VPN gateway option and enter WAN IP of peer VPN device. Enter IKE pre-shared key. Select IPsec security method for the tunnel. Here we are keeping security method to its default value. Then go to TCP/IP network settings. My WAN IP and remote gateway IP should be set as 0.0.0.0. In this case, remote network IP is 192.168.1.0 with mask 255.255.255.0. Local network IP is 192.168.70.0 with mask 255.255.255.0. You can click on More button to add more than one subnet. click OK to save the VPN profile. Now let's configure Vigor 2860. Log in to Vigor 2860. Default username and password are admin. We'll check internet connectivity first. WAN 2 is connected here. Now go to VPN and Remote Access, LAN to LAN. Click on Available Profile Index. Enter profile name and tick Enable this profile option. You can also choose WAN interface for VPN dial-out. We are setting Vigor 2860 as VPN client, hence we can set call direction as dial-out. Tick Always On checkbox to keep VPN tunnel up all the time irrespective of traffic flow. When Always On option is checked, you can also enable ping to keep alive and type a remote network IP here. In this case, Vigor router will try to reconnect to the remote IP when the VPN tunnel is broken. Under dial-out settings, select IPsec, enter server IP. This will be WAN IP of your Vigor 2760. Enter iKey pre-shared key. This should be same as we entered in first router. Select IPsec security method. Here we will select high data encryption standard without authentication. You can click on Advanced button for customized proposal settings if required. Now you can go to TCP/IP network settings. My WAN IP and remote gateway IP should be set as 0.0.0.0. Remote network IP is 192.168.70.0 with mask 255.255.255.0. Local network IP is 192.168.1.0 with mask 255.255.255.0. Click OK to save the VPN profile. Now go to Connection Management to check the VPN connectivity. We will wait for a couple of seconds here. Tunnel is up now. You can select VPN profile from the drop down and click Dial to manually initiate the connection. You can also check reachability by ping response. So let's go to command prompt of the PC, which is behind 2860. I'll try to ping 192.168.70.1, that is Vigor 2760 router. You can see that remote router is reachable. Thank you for watching the video. For more information, you can visit our website www.draytek.com.au, or you can also send us an email to sales@draytek.com.au.
Here we have a summary of the settings for LAN to LAN VPN tunnel configuration. For VPN client, we set the call direction to be dial out. Use the dial out settings menu. For the remote network, we enter the server's LAN IP subnet. For the VPN server, we will set the call direction to dial in. Use the dial in menu settings. And for the remote network, we enter the VPN client's LAN IP subnet. Once the VPN tunnels are established, the routing table in the router is updated with a static routing pointing to the remote network. For the remote networks that uses the same IP address space, DrayTek have added an IP translation feature which uses the virtual IP address to avoid the routing conflicts. This feature is available for IPsec VPN tunnels, For example, if both routers required for the VPN tunnel are using default LAN IP subnets, then we will need to enable IP translate to allow communication over VPN tunnel. IP addresses not defined in the virtual IP mapping list will be blocked from the VPN tunnel. This option is available in TCP/IP network settings in the VPN profile. There are two translated types to choose: whole subnet and specific IP address. Clicking on the Virtual IP Mapping button brings up a dialog to specify the local IP address and the mapping virtual IP address. Some takeaway messages. LAN-to-LAN VPN is a low-cost solution to allow multiple fixed office locations to establish a secure connection with each other via the internet. Here we have a summary of the settings for LAN-to-LAN VPN tunnel configuration. In VPN Client, the call direction is set to dial out and use the dial out settings menu, and the remote network is the server's LAN IP subnet. While VPN Server, the call direction is set to dial in and use the dial in settings menu, and the remote network is the client's LAN IP subnet. This is the end of our presentation. Thanks for taking part in our presentation today. If possible, please complete the questionnaire that we will be sending to you at the conclusion of today's presentation. Your feedback is valuable and will help us to develop future webinars. We hope to catch up with you in our next webinar in the coming weeks. Thank you and bye for now.